It all began like way. Lil Scrappy, the popular rapper from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, had just fallen in love. It's one of those stories that keeps viewers glued to their TVs, and you won't believe what I'm about to tell you. This is an incredible roller coaster, so hold on tight. Disclose the kind of shocking knowledge that would fundamentally change the course of anyone's life. His wife, Bambi Benson, had been hiding a child, not just any child either, that she had with someone other than him. Yes, you heard that right. What's even worse is that he didn't know about it from her or at 2:47 a.m. A screenshot on his phone informed him about it. Imagine that when you wake up. Scrappy was initially unaware of what he was witnessing. A young youngster was seen in the photo, and the description had a simple but frightful question. Who is this young child referring to as your mother? Scrappy froze. Then everything, even his universe, started to crumble, and he didn't blink or speak. Suddenly, everything he thought was true, including his wife, was a gigantic lie, Bambi, as he was shocked when Scrappy showed up at their house, which had been a family home but was now more of a covert hideout. He wasn't angry at first. He just showed her the picture, held out the phone, and waited for an explanation. Scrap knew in her heart that this wasn't an accident when she saw how much this youngster resembled her. The same eyes, the same smile, the same characteristics. Let me clarify before you think it's just a misunderstanding. Bambi sat down and gave him the truth in a way that seemed bad, but she didn't dismiss it outright. She admitted that the child came from a brief relationship she had had in the past, but she kept it a secret while they were separated out of fear of what people would think of her and how they would judge her. She attempted to portray herself as protecting Scrappy from the public's disapproval, but Scrappy, oh man, wasn't buying it. As he watched his whole life unfold, how could he sit there and process it? It wasn't a minor argument or a dispute between a husband and wife. Rather, it was a betrayal so deep that it made him feel as though his life had come apart. He didn't know about the child, the treachery that went deeper than any knife, and the quiet that followed. However, the unsettling aspect is that this was just the start. After the secret was made public, everyone started talking about it. The media, fans, and other people all had theories about what was going on. However, things don't get fascinating there. Soon after, tales began to circulate with even stranger details, such as the message from Mama D Scrappy, which made him the talk of the town. Had he been blind all along, or how could he have been ignorant of it? Scrappy's mother was unable to remain silent about her son. Believe me, she didn't hold back when she went live on Instagram. That woman wasn't right for my son. Mama D wasn't just angry, she was furious. She said what everyone else was thinking. She hinted that the truth was more severe than a one-time occurrence. It was a case of betrayal at the highest level, and she wasn't going to overlook this lie. Fans were devouring the drama, of course. People started looking for explanations, clues, and anything else that would explain how far this rabbit hole had gone. And the internet went berserk as the betrayal and suffering played out like a soap opera. Was longtime family friend and businessman Stevie J more involved? The twist is that on the night Mama D went live and spilt the tea, he was not only Bambi's business partner, but also the man behind this hidden child. It was all very horrible and kept getting worse the more people talked and the more they learned. Bambi claimed that her prior vacations were work excursions, but it turns out that there may have been more going on there than that. Some admirers started to piece together all these little details, and there were even allegations that Bambi had a secret flat. You know who was paying for the methods that were being used to hide the child? Just as things appeared to be getting out of control, Mama revealed yet another shocking revelation about Stevie J, the man who had been hanging out with Bambi and Scrappy, implied questionable contracts and private discussions that were kept under wraps. This was not merely an affair, it was a setup and a plot. But it gets crazier, right? You may be asking, but trust me when I say that it does Scrappy of. He was experiencing complete emotional upheaval. Fans were cheering him on and supporting him, but they were also uncertain about what would happen next. Would Scrappy leave everything behind and walk away, adopt the boy and raise him as his own, or stay with Bambi? What would he do next, Iche? Scrappy said nothing. Without saying anything, he disappeared from social media, leaving behind rumors and hazy tweets. Fans could all agree that there was still much work to be done, And if you followed the developments were finished, you were wrong. I promise you that the drama was only going to grow hotter from here on out. Even more absurd is the fact that everyone thought they knew what was going on, but let me make it clear that this was more than simply an affair. Because secrets like these don't just disappear when they are revealed, and trust me, this story isn't done yet, the world observed. As she went on, it became evident that this was not a simple case of infidelity. She even made references to some very serious business secrets, agreements, and transactions that no one was aware of. Put together a scheme, perhaps even a conspiracy, that went much beyond Scrappy and Bambi's relationship. And just when you thought it could get any worse, there were rumors circulating about Scrappy. Supporters began to question whether Scrappy had been engaged from the start. Was this it all part of a conspiracy? Or had the whole thing really taken him by surprise? There were rumors that he may have been more involved than he was acknowledging. After all of these secrets were held in plain sight of him over the years that he and Bambi had been dating. Was this a massive betrayal from the one person he trusted the most, or was he too ashamed to admit it? Things start to become intriguing at this point. One thing was clear despite all the turmoil, fabrications, and speculation. Scrappy would need to make the internet was in flames. The streets were full of gossip. The world was watching. The pressure was mounting, and Scrappy had to choose between confronting Bambi and leaving everything behind. As the chaos developed, this story was certainly far from over, because there was still much to discover and many unanswered questions. Wait till the next surprise happens if you think you've heard it all. You won't believe what comes next. When everyone thought they had, this story's plot develops even further. But remember that when Mama D and Stevie J became involved, everything had already gone nuclear. But everything was completely upended by the next round of bombshells that appeared online. As the story unfolded, Scrappy's stillness became more and more suspicious. It was like the quiet before the storm, but it affected not just him, but also everyone in his vicinity. Supporters began to wonder if the treachery had actually hurt him, or as everyone thought the worst was over, there was another leak. But this time it wasn't from Mama D, Stevie J, or even fans. Why wasn't he responding to the accusations? And was there more going on behind the scenes? How about Bambi? Was there anything darker she was hiding? An insider with direct access to the Love and hip-hop production team was the source of this information. The word from the insider was simple, but startling. Bambi had been living two lives, and the story was about to take a whole new turn, had been secretly raising the child and living her whole life. The insider claimed that she had been secretly parenting the child in a separate flat that Stevie J was purportedly funding. I understand what you're thinking, but hold on, what is it? It appears that Bambi had participated in a broad covert plan to keep Scrappy in the dark about her personal life, so it was no longer simply about the affair. Not only did she want to hide the baby, but she also wanted to hide the complete truth about her relationships, and it was all being concealed by one of the game's most powerful men, Stevie J. The situation becomes much more bizarre at this point. The insider claims that Bambi's purported work trips were really just a way to cover up the fact that she was traveling with the youngster. A wellness retreat was even mentioned. After Bambi reportedly attended a wellness retreat in Arizona, there were allegations that it was actually a private maternity suite that had been reserved under a false name. You know who was allegedly paying for this? That would be the man who had been present. Stevie J. Scrappy's relatives had been present for all of the family's holidays and vacations for months. He had been assisting Bambi in concealing her worst secret, and the speculations were wild, I must say. Every detail they noticed was being examined. As they started to piece together Bambi's lies, fans were persuaded and amazed by the links they were discovering between the old photos, each Instagram post, and even earlier interviews. The evidence was growing. Had Scrappy been engaged in this cover-up all along, or had he really been kept in the dark? But the real twist was that Bambi's covert existence wasn't the end of the story. A very recent live video of Stevie J on this time, Stevie J wasn't being coy or enigmatic, but he went live and gave one of the wildest and most bizarre interviews you've ever heard on Instagram. Oh no, he was actually stoking the flames this time. He seems to find amusement in the absurdity of his acts had caused, and he ended by stating, "Everyone always has my name in their mouths, but nobody's showing receipts." His remarks sent the internet into a frenzy, with everyone wondering, did just admit that he helped Bambi hide the truth? But that wasn't all, and Stevie took it a step farther. When asked if Bambi was hinting at something the audience wasn't ready to hear, he laughed it off. Fans began to connect. More rapidly, Stevie J was not just a passive bystander. He played a significant role in the whole narrative and enjoyed every second of the limelight. He gave them just enough information to keep them engaged, as if he were playing a game with them, but never enough to fully reveal the truth. And as soon as this bombshell subsided, another incident occurred. Mama D wasn't amused by Bambi's mysterious post about